Hi, Bible Art Journalers. It's October 2018, and this month at the Vacaville Bible Art Journaling Collaborative, I'm sharing a technique to make washi stained glass. These two templates that I have here are going to be available through a link in the description of the video where you can print them out. You can use them by just coloring them in and putting them in your margin, or you can use this technique where we're going to take them and make them into stained glass with our washi tape. This was inspired by this page that my daughter did on the left. The page on the right is probably her first Bible journaling she ever did in October of 2015, and this left page she did a couple months ago. But this piece required a lot of drawing skills and really cutting and placing things strategically, and so I thought, let's try and do a technique that will make it a little easier for everyone to be able to do some washi tape stained glass. I actually took a stained glass class, probably upper elementary, maybe junior high, through a scouting group that I was in. And so I used the same techniques that I learned then to draw these templates. And sorry that the cross is upside down, that was completely unintentional. When you're drawing stained glass, you can't have anything that's floating out in space or an open form. Everything has to be a closed shape, which makes it easy for us to actually cut these apart and use them as a template for our washi stained glass. If you're like me and you've been Bible journaling for any length of time, you probably have an ever-growing stash of washi, and this is a great way to use it up. We're going to start by just doing this one simple heart, not all the other pieces to this piece, just cutting out this one to show you the technique. The semi-transparency of the washi tape gives us that look of light coming through stained glass. The first thing you're going to want to do is make two copies of the template that you're going to use. One for a guide to look at to reassemble and one to cut up for your template. If you're drawing your own designs, don't use a pencil. Get a waterproof pen or something that won't smudge. Even these printed pages from the laser printer I use tend to rub off onto the washi. Another tip, especially if you're doing one of those intricate pieces, is to color on the back of the design template with a colored pencil to make sure you know what side is the front that you're working on and which is the back, in case one of your pieces flips over when you cut them apart like this. I have a plastic mat under my Bible, and I use that to reassemble the design, especially when I'm working on something more intricate. You're going to need to be putting those pieces in order over to the side, and with this one I only have about 5 pieces, so that's not as big a concern with this small pattern. For this design I chose washi in similar colors, some pinks and light blues, and I had previously done some paint smushing on the page with a credit card. That's just acrylic paint to cover up some ghosting. So now I'm just going to take pieces of washi and rip them the sizes of the different pieces of the template and stick them on my mat here, and just keep doing that with each piece of the template. As I'm putting the washi tape on, I'm putting the pieces on my craft mat in sort of the same order that they go in their design. So like this piece is upper left quadrant, that's where I'm going to stick it on my mat, so that hopefully I don't get mixed up when I go to put them back together. Now remember, I still have another copy of my template to keep track of where pieces go, and I can look at it as I'm working. Now we're going to cut the pieces out. So around the template, cutting off the excess tape so that all that we get is the washi that's the shape we want. I really like these cutter bee scissors for cutting out small intricate patterns, and they even have some black bladed scissors that are used with sticky substances. But with the washi tape not being very sticky, it's part of why this technique with the stained glass works. So I have my paper and my washi tape, and I'm going to peel the washi tape off of my template and put it in place on my page. I'll speed this up as I do it with the remaining pieces. Now that my pieces are all in place, I'm going to use my Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pin with a brush tip just to go over all the places where the pieces are touching to give them that leaded look like stained glass. I finished the page with some Uniball Signo white gel pen, and I also decided to go over the black with some silver gel pen, also a Uniball Signo, to make it look like when I learned stained glass and used a soldering gun to put my pieces together. Now we're going to do the same technique with a more intricate design. I have two templates, one I'm going to set aside for later, and this is the one that I'm going to cut out. I almost forgot my own tip to color the back side of the page so that if you flip a piece over on accident, you won't get it mixed up. I just used a color pencil. Again, as I cut them, I'm going to spread them out on my craft mat. Because the washi tape pieces are going to be quite a bit bigger than the tiny template pieces, I want enough space to spread them out and put those bigger pieces of washi over the templates. One more tip for cutting, and then I'll speed up the video, is that you want to make sure you cut just one line. If you are off your line a little bit, it's okay. Just don't cut a piece off of one of your small template pieces, because then they won't match up when you go to put them back together as well. Okay, phew, all the cutting is done, and now we can start putting our washi pieces over our templates. So I'm going to start with this biggest piece and use my widest washi, and then I'm going to have to spread out all the pieces a little more and just go for it with all the other colors of washi that I want to use. Now it's time to cut again around the templates. I'm starting with this largest piece again, and you sort of just build as you go. Start with the edges, one side, the bottom, and then add your pieces one at a time. If you don't want to do the peeling piece, if you cut it out and then you peel it off the paper, if the peeling part's really tedious, I usually have really short fingernails because I play guitar, but I left them longer for this project. If that last piece is too tedious for you, you could always just glue the template piece of paper to the page. But you're using washi tape, it does stick, so if you want to take the time to peel it off and stick it on your page, it works great, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to speed this up again because nobody likes to watch hours and hours of cutting. It really did take about an hour to do this page, so it's the sped up portions are sped up 20 times. So I also have to take some time, if you stuck with me this far, to tell you about the inspiration behind this page. So all week long, as I have been going about my day, I have had a song that we sang in church last weekend stuck in my head. And the lyrics that have been stuck there and keep repeating over and over is, "It's the power of your presence that changes us, your glory all around us, and we're undone. You open up the heavens and fall afresh on us." Now move forward to this weekend as I'm shooting this video, and I see the flames on this design, and I think of Acts 2 when the Holy Spirit fell, and I think of another song lyrics that says, "Holy Spirit, fill this heart again. Holy Spirit, burn like fire within." And I go to look up the lyrics for that chorus just to see who who wrote the song? Where did it come from? And lo and behold, it's the chorus to the verse that I've been singing all week, and I didn't put two and two together. So I thought that was really cool. But then the thing about Bible journaling for me is I start out thinking God's going to speak to me in one way through that song, through the verse, and then I start into the process and He will reveal something in the process. So this is a pretty tedious activity, this cutting and little shapes and all of that. And through the whole process, what keeps coming to mind is details. There's so many details. And that honestly, God cares about the details of our lives. And He gives us impressions, timing, things that just come into alignment with His Spirit, especially for those people around us we care about in our everyday lives. And I had a situation, I was texting with a friend who was going through a real sadness. They had had a loss. I opened Instagram and saw that she had posted something about the loss because they've had a lot of people praying for them and their situation. The very next thing scrolling down in the Instagram feed is a Bible journaling post. And the first was so encouraging, and I thought, that verse is just for her. And that detail coming up at that moment, I sent her the verse, and it was very encouraging for her. God, you just put that detail in place so that I would see it, think of her. I just think He does that in so many areas of our life. This just really helped me to reflect on that by spending the time doing this, cutting these little pieces, as tedious as it may be. It really did give me time to meditate and think, and that's so much of the artistic process and the value for me in Bible journaling. And here's the finished page with those song lyrics I was talking about. So I'm including this video. This is actually the first page I did where I learned all my mistakes and how to go ahead and teach you without you making the same mistakes, like using a pencil, like I'm doing here on my hand-drawn design. So if you've enjoyed watching the process, here's one more sped up video through the whole process.